Brazil season. I'll get my agent license and go Brazil. Start signing some players, man. Go into the favelas immediately and start signing dons. Start lying and putting on the British accent. Oh, I know Arsenal dons. I get you the move, man. I don't have no thoughts on that. Ask a medical, man. I don't know about that, DS, man. I'm just not about football. I don't know about that. Anyways, Arsenal transfers. Jesus is number one target. Serie A strikers also in the mix. Search for left-sided centre-back. Arsenal's priority in this transfer window is no secret. They want a centre-forward. But the additions to the squad will not end there. And this is by James McNicholas and David Ornstein, by the way, people. In light of the club's return to European football, we said, hey guys, in the thing now, you're all European football. I'm going to cat that one. Arsenal are aware they need to strengthen in other departments. They also intend to add a number 9 to augment their midfield and are interested in a left-sided centre-back to support Gabriel. Porto spenders in transfer fees, bringing in 6 players for a reported 140 million. We were, but City spent 101. So that tells you where Arsenal were at and where other teams are at. We're trying to make sure there's no asbestos in our yard and there's proper central heating and installation and all of them things there. Brazil might be dangerous, man. I'm dangerous. The world's dangerous, man. Brazil, Chile, bro, is what it is, man. Come on, man. Arsenal. I mean, you can't go in life fear of people, man. It is what it is. But anyways, away from that nonsense. This summer, the strategy is different. Arsenal hope to add a smaller number of players, but lift the quality of the squad substantially. And by the way, for someone that's been for Brazil, they told you that someone that's actually Brazilian, you just wear Primark stuff, you'd be good still. If a Carla can be raised where guys got skanks and nothing can happen, I think I could be all right. In budgetary terms. Arsenal believe, however, they will still be able to land their key targets. They feel that the project, the city, and a persuasive manager will still make a compelling proposition for potential signings. Probably, you're going to have to gas them. And obviously, again, you have to play on the London aspect. Some of the main targets are well known. Arsenal are still optimistic that their interest in Gabriel Jesus will bear fruit. Discussions between Arsenal's technical director Edu and Jesus' representatives are believed to have been taking place for months. And with just a year remaining on his contract, Arsenal will surely interpret City's demands as a negotiating position. Jesus is Arsenal's number one target. He's seen as the perfect mix for their Arsenal attack. He has an intelligent movement. He has the intelligent movement that the manager Mikel Arteta is looking for, while his versatility also offers flexibility. What about goals, brother? Crucially, he also works incredibly hard off the ball. Pep and Brazil manager Tite have both called Jesus the best pressing forward in the world. I have more defensive forwards. Brazy, man. It is what it is. Scorer. If a deal, Arsenal's technical director and Jesus goes some way back. He was the general coordinator of Brazil's national team when Jesus received his first cap in September 2016. It's hopeful too that Arteta worked alongside Jesus at the Etihad. Several other clubs are interested in signing Jesus, which could push Arsenal to act sooner rather than later. Just make sure you got a backup plan. Reports suggest City could demand as much as 50 million for Jesus, a steep price for a player whose contract expires in 2023. Arsenal will hope that position is merely the start of a negotiation. The club acknowledge, however, that the centre-forward market is not one synonymous with, I cannot say that word, with great value. They accept they will have to pay a premium price to land a goal scorer. Is Jesus a goal scorer? Does he have the potential to be? Yes, but is he a goal scorer? Pressing forward, work rate, yes, but is he a goal scorer? Has he got a body of work for that is a goal scorer? It's over time. To play devil's advocate, I can only go off the words and the descriptive language being used. 8 goals and 9 assists in 28 appearances this season. Half of them goals came when you was linked to Arsenal and your stats were identical to Lacazette. You'd have to go. He went on at a point. He went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14. He went on like a 14 game streak without scoring before he scored against Liverpool, people. And then goals he got in the league, 95 goals in 230 in the Premier League, 58 goals and 32 assists in 559. For Brazil, that's where the record looks a bit the most 18 goals in 54. Is this necessarily a goal scorer for as much as I like or don't? And truly. So I don't know. It's just what arouses my imagination, pause, is the potential of Gabriel Jesus to be a goal scorer. But anyways, again, I wouldn't describe him currently as a goal scorer. So yeah, 50 million is a big ask. City probably would have to loosen their position as the months goes on. But again, they're in a strong negotiating position. There's about 6 clubs that want him, probably don't want him to sign for Arsenal. So wherever he goes, I could very well see Arsenal paying 50 million, but if he goes elsewhere, I don't think they'll do that, people. There are other names that were both discussed in January. Isaac's got 5 goals this season. It's a bit needy, and they're going to ask for a mad thing. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's had a poor season, so Everton didn't get relegated, and I'm sure Lampard, in his first full season at Everton, would want, his England capped striker. So yeah, Sociedad's seemingly unwillingness to negotiate may rule them out of contention. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is still admired by Arsenal staff, but there are concerns after a difficult season due to injury and poor form not ability. Arsenal's list of targets includes several strikers in Serie A. They held an interest in Tammy Abraham last summer and would likely have pursued him more aggressively had they found a willing buyer for Lacazette. Instead, the former Chelsea forward went to Roma, where he's enjoyed a fantastic debut. Player would be open to a return to London, but Roma have no interest in selling. Lautaro Martinez was subject of interest from Arsenal and Tottenham before signing a new deal in October 2021. Arteta and Edu remain firm admirers of the Argentinian. His new deal would make him expensive, however, and he prefers to play in the front two. Victor Osimhen is another player Arsenal have followed closely, given that Napoli signed him for a fee of up to 80 million. He is another one that would command a premium price tag. There is also an acceptance that negotiating with the Napoli president could be challenging. Gianluca Scamacca is also of interest to Arsenal. The 23-year-old Italy international scored 16 league goals this season and is being followed by some of the big European clubs. Inter and AC Milan are tracking him closely, and there's a sense he may decide to stay in Serie A. So there you have it with that one, really, Whether or not Arsenal will sign a second striker, 2-year-old is just weeks away from the expiry of his contract, but fresh terms remain on the table, and Arsenal are a little more hopeful that after a run of starts, he may be persuaded to sign. If Arsenal were to sign a second striker, it may be a player earlier in their development. The club are strong admirers of the 19-year-old Czech forward Adam Hozek, but he is believed to be subject of strong interest from Bayer Leverkusen, who may steal a march on Arsenal as the London club may wait for more clarity in their striking situation. I scrolled down too much. Arsenal had been looking at the possibility of a wide forward with PSG's winger Cody Gakpo among the options that have been discussed. The club have moved quickly. Paulo, the youngster, has already flown into London to undergo medical tests and sign the necessary paperwork. His short-term future is yet to be decided. He may go out on loan or could yet be asked to fight for a place in Arsenal's first-team squad. Either way, further arrivals in this area would most likely be contingent on the departure, with Nicolas Pepe the obvious candidate to be sold. You can have to be able to sell, you've got to have a buyer in it. Nobody wants a shit stock. No one wants to buy a poor asset or a poor business, which Pepe might be that, might not be that. There's been a suggestion Arsenal want to recruit homegrown players. While that was true last summer, the homegrown quota is now in a healthy position, and Arsenal under no pressure to buy British. Their experiences of 2021's transfer window, particularly the smooth adaptations of Ben White, Aaron Ramsdale, and Odegaard. Would you say smooth? With Premier League experience, what makes players like Jesus, Calvert-Lewin, and Abraham so intriguing. The same is true in midfield, where Leicester City's Yuri Telemans ranks high among Arsenal's targets. Like Jesus, he has a year left on his contract. Arsenal hope these situations can be exploited to their benefit and would ideally like to pay in the region of 25 million. Pardon me. Preliminary talks have taken place between Edu and the players' reps, and although multiple clubs are interested in the Belgium international, Arsenal hope he can be persuaded to swap the Midlands for London. Ruben Neves is another midfield Premier League midfielder Arsenal admire, but they are conscious that after a stellar season, his price tag may have also doubled since last summer. Arsenal fans were scouring the media for weeks for news of a new striker for weeks in January, but the club were also simultaneously pursuing a centre-back. Arteta wanted to add left-sided German international Nico Schlotterbeck to replace Marie, who we spoke about already. Arsenal advised his preference was to remain in Germany, and weeks ago it was revealed he signed for Borussia Dortmund. Arsenal will still be in the market for a left-sided centre-back should an appropriate opportunity arrive. It will be interesting to see if William Saliba joins Arsenal's stable of defenders next season. As of yet, no clear plans have been communicated to the Frenchman or his reps. Dependent on players leaving the club. At left back, Arsenal admire Bologna's Aaron Hickey, but as of yet, there has been no formal bid. On the opposite flank, the club still have Cedric under contract for a further 2 years and are pleased with the job he has done as Tomiyasu's understudy. Arsenal will be hoping to make additions in good time for the start of the season. Without an international tournament, there are fewer obstacles. Moving quickly could be vital if they are to avoid the same difficulties they experienced at the beginning of 2021-22. So make of that what you will. Moving away from that, though, folks, which was a lengthy read, and getting into the other articles. I do miss the days when strikers like to score. You're right on that, man. You're right on that. Is what it is. No, not having it next season. The league's ours. I hear that. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know about that. Swap El Nene. Yeah, man. What's his record for Brazil? I just said it. DG, does it really make sense taking in these transfer rumors, seeing the players are on holiday and most likely don't make decisions in more July? I know content still has to be made. I mean, signings have happened already, you know. It's just what else are we able to speak about? You know, you can still deal with transfers. You don't think people are on the beach right now dotting I's and crossing T's, and when they return to their countries, it is what it is. I want to know, does it really, what else are we meant to talk about? What else are we meant to do? You know, it makes sense. Football always is always going. You know, we've seen the bulk of where we've heard the bulk of the paperwork or talks have been done with Gabriel Jesus and Telemans across the course of the season. Last time I checked, you know, Haaland was on holiday. He signed for City. Are you having a bad day? Are you all right now? Is it cool? Did you get it out? Why are you typing paragraphs on an emotional tip? You know what? Let me say, I'm gonna send you a link to the stream. You come and sit here. Come and sit here. You know, some players are gonna be on holiday, some players are not. Some players are more pressed to sort out their futures or not. But fundamentally, as I said, we're just gonna be speaking about it. So please let me know. We as Arsenal fans are sometimes delusional. We know the reality, but still expect a unicorn. You gotta speak for yourself. Someone like, what are we trying to say? DJ, I said fifth is where we're going to finish. Where do you think we'll finish in the Europa League? If you're not winning the competition, it's a myth. To be honest with you, I don't care. Well, if Arsenal are not in the final as a minimum, it's irrelevant. If you don't win it, it's a myth. There's no point being in it. Like, I would have had less expectations on Arteta in the Champions League because there's a bigger gulf in quality. Nothing to do with that. I just want to know, like, you know, we've got fucking, you know, we're about to listen to what Charles Watson said, but we got fucking Ian Parker Campbell who knows everything about transfers here. So again, he must know something we don't, you know. Really, sit here and tell us who we're signing. What you saying? Mbappe's coming. Shut the fuck up, mate. Arsenal eye Osimhen transfer as they continue Gab Jesus talks. The Gunners are looking to bring in 2 forwards this summer with Alexander Lacazette, and Eddie Nketiah expected to leave. Arsenal have held talks over a move for Napoli striker Victor Osimhen as they continue their attempts to line Gab Jesus from City. Again, we know the obvious, we know, as it said here, improving the striking department comes to the productivity of our strikers and obviously our ability to score goals. The Napoli striker is a player high up on Arsenal's transfer list this summer. Goal has learned that Osimhen's agent flew into London last week for meetings with Arsenal's technical director Edu to discuss a potential transfer. Careful, someone in the group chat said that people are not dealing with their futures. Ian, come on now, you could never hop on this. You're not levels, but anyways, Ian, I just to humor you, people on holiday. That's last week. Last week. Like I say, I just talk about things. I just know football in it. Like I don't know about the transfer thing like you, man. I need you on Football Manager. Hey, listen, I can't lie. I miss Alexis Sanchez. It's muscle memory. But yeah, man, his agent flew into London last week for a meeting. Meetings could be anything. I have meetings about content all the time. It doesn't mean anything comes of it. I'm sure some of you that have meetings will. It'd be very difficult to convince Napoli to part ways with their star striker. As we know, their president is known as an extremely tough negotiator and would want to receive far more than 68 million. And the fact that Napoli have qualified for the Champions League, to be fair to you, there's no reason for him to move, really. If I'm sorry, people just need to charge my phone. There's no reason for him to want to move. I mean, where Osimhen's concerned, you just got to put the money down or allow it in it, really and truly, And again, with Gab Jesus, this has just reiterated that Arsenal have held talks with his reps for weeks as they look to strike an early deal for the Brazilian. His reps are now in England to hold talks with City. He has a year left on his deal. He's open to a move, even though we didn't get Champions League, and much like what we heard with Telemans, he's still down for it. We're yet to table a bid, so that tells you, for all the talk about stuff, we're dotting I's and crossing T's. We're yet to table a bid yet, people. So we're going to have to see what's going on there. I can't lie. This article is basically just reiterating the majority of the stuff from The Athletic, really, where Tammy Abraham, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Osimhen's concerned. And obviously where Marquinhos is concerned here. But it said sources. And again, this source is platform. I can say sources. My mum could have told me that she saw a rumor, and I could say sources have said goal that Arsenal are keeping an eye on Everton forward Richarlison's situation and have sounded out his reps in recent weeks. I wonder how much that would cost, and surely he wants to get out of there. So I don't know how much that would cost or whatever's going there. Telemans needs to improve defensively. He's conceded 4 penalties. That's more than City, Spurs, and Southampton combined, folks. What's all of this? We're on Arsenal. We're on football.london. What's going on here? Does this say? This could be interesting. I mean, I don't want to hear nothing about Gab Jesus anymore, if I'm honest with you. In terms of players on Arteta's radar, football.london understands City's Gabriel Jesus. Tired of hearing that now. Aaron Hickey, Telemans are targets, while they're also linked with the likes of Gakpo, Neves, get their main targets signed, sealed, and delivered before their first preseason fixture in early July. It would allow for enough. I mean, we all know that, innit? Scrolling all the way down here, Saliba, Saka, Martinelli contracts talks 2024. As previously reported by Football.London, Arsenal are expected to offer Saka a new contract at the end of the season as a reward for his excellent form. But the winger is just one of several first-team players who, as things stand, will see their deals expire in 2023 or 2024. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Bellerin, Torreira, Nelson, who we heard Arsenal are encouraged by his development, are all out of contract next summer. So Arteta and Eddie will have to make a decision. I mean, to be honest with you, I would say with the exception of Nelson, and you could even throw him in there, a miracle happens, they're gone in it, really. So yeah, it is what it is, people. And obviously, where the 2024 contracts are concerned, you know, you've got Cedric Suarez, Xhaka, Marie, Pepe, Runnison, Akonku, Arthur Akonku, William Saliba, Holding, and Gabriel Martinelli. With the club holding the option to trigger 1 year extensions on the latter pair. So these two are basically until 2025. Need to go. Fucking shit. Probably for you to leave if you're not gonna, you know, if we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. Holding's a sideman and nothing more. It is what it is because they've got the bloody club in their pocket, and likewise, man. So yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is where that's concerned. So yeah, the next 2 years are quite vital, people. As for Saliba and Martinelli in particular, have the potential to be key players for the club. There's an incentive for Director of Football Operations Richard Garlick, whose main role entails negotiating contracts with both existing and new players to press ahead with talks in order to secure their long-term future. Very different, you know, from what the article had actually said in it, people. So yeah, that's that bit of clickbait from them, as you'd expect. We've already covered that. Obviously, I'm not signed up to the Telegraph, but we've all heard Mikel Arteta is pushing Arsenal to make a bid, you know, for Yuri Telemans of 25 million, and he's contracted for a year. We've been knowing that already. Telemans has change of heart as Arsenal push for 25 million summer transfer. Yuri Telemans may have played his last game for Leicester. He's being linked with us, people. Scrolling all the way down. Telemans and his reps are now open to the prospect of playing in that competition where Europa League is concerned, people. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's hope Arteta is able to persuade him and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. You'd have to Google that. I don't work for Arsenal or Amazon. I don't know for anything they're bringing out. Like, and here we go with the Sun. This article actually got me with up to 9 first-team players facing the act. Tammy Abraham wanted up again and again and again and again. So let's see exactly what's been said here, innit, people? Arsenal are looking to scrape together 60 million from the Emirates yard sale of players. And this is where I think Saliba could be gone, because Saliba can bring you 25 to 30 million and get your money back. Other than that, you know, we've got players that are not really wanted. You know, Edu's not much of a hustler, and you've got contracts running out. So where's this 60 million coming from? I mean, if I do the maths, you might be able to, but the club are ready to spend as much as 150 million this summer to upgrade Mikel Arteta's squad for a return to European football. But they want to offset some of the outlay by selling several surplus players at knockdown prices. As we know, Guendouzi and Mavropanos are gone. The club are now trying to negotiate cut price deals for Hector Bellerin, Torreira, Leno, Maitland-Niles, and Pablo Mari. Arteta has told Edu that he needs 22 outfield players to cope with the extra demands of European football next season, and not to mention 5 subs. Eddie and Lacazette look to be going. El Nene has more or less signed a new deal. We still await official confirmation, people. That figure could be boosted by the return of Saliba and possibly Reece Nelson from their current loan deals. Arteta is ready to allow promising youngsters such as Patino, Aziz, and Amari the chance to cut their teeth. I mean, I'm pretty much certain 2 of those 3 names there will go out on loan. But he still, and I don't know anything, I'm just a fan, that's just my educated opinion. But he still wants to make 4 further top quality signings this summer as he looks for 2 strikers, a centre mid, and possibly another fullback. I mean, the Athletic said a centre back, so who knows? We know what about Tammy Abraham, Yuri Telemans, and Gab Jesus. So yeah, man. And Arteta said, when you look at what we have on the pitch now and what we had 10 or 20 years ago, you can see where this club has to go. We have squeezed the lemon to the very last drop to reach this point, and I hear you. The Europa League requires a much larger squad because of the amount of games is much larger. I mean that if they are to get their spending right this summer, the squad will need to be in great shape for the next 5 or 6 years. The problem is now finding potential buyers for players who are currently surplus to requirements. Benfica are quibbling over Leno, and you know, Fiorentina, despite agreeing to it, don't want to commit to the outlay of 12.5 million for Lucas Torreira. Real Betis have spoken about crowdfunding a deal to keep Bellerin, but the fullback's 100 grand a week wages are a major stumbling block. The versatile Maitland-Niles is expected to move to another Premier League club for around 8 million. I hope there's a sell-on clause. While Marie has impressed on loan at Udinese, but the club might not have the funds to make the player permanent. I mean, when you're shit and you sign players on good wages, it's difficult to move them on. Is this Lacazette's kid? Oh, shout out Lacazette. Goodbye, Lacazette. So yeah, and to paraphrase that, as you can see here, this is where Edu's got to earn his money. Fiorentina cannot afford the 12.5 asking price for Torreira. Benfica are playing hardball over Leno. Bellerin's wages are a stumbling block. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is to move for a cut price fee. Why? They're all contracted until 2023. I wouldn't keep Ainsley, car. He needs to go in it, needs to go on loan. I mean, needs to leave permanently now. Would like him to be a squad player here, but we're at where we're at. They're not going to give him a new deal on extended terms. He's not going to get a look in midfield. He's probably not going to get a look in at fullback now with Cedric, that being that. You need to go in it, really. Time to move on. So, yeah, that's that. Fiorentina wanted to agree one line. Pablo Bentancur, Torreira's agent, confirmed that Fiorentina repeatedly requests for discounts pushed the Uruguayan to return to Arsenal, people, where it's been made abundantly clear he will not have a future. We had agreed on this is putting me off, sorry. We had agreed on a salary with Fiorentina for the coming seasons of 2.7, both the salary and the cost of the transfer. We could not accept this, and neither could Arsenal. Now Torreira has a contract with the Gunners until June 2023. Lucas loves the city of Florence. He's very disappointed. There's little to add. Disappointed for the behavior of the club, obviously not for the footballing experience or the city. I repeat, he had fallen in love with Florence. Boy, and it's been made abundantly clear, allegedly, he's got no future at Arsenal. The club told him that. So yeah, it's a myth for that, really. Lucas Torreira is set to return. So he'll return for a couple of weeks and then probably be moved on, really. They tried to lie to them people, The basic problem is that Lucas earned a higher salary at Arsenal than he took in Florence. When we agreed on the 1.5 million euro loan, 1.2 million quid on loan with Arsenal last summer, I got from the English club the possibility that Fiorentina would not pay that money if Lucas had played at least 25 games. With this option, we have set the right of redemption at 50 million, 12.6 people, payable in. We had an agreement on the engagement with Fiorentina for the coming seasons of 2.5 million net a year. Fiorentina, however, now want to lower both the salary and the cost of the transfer. We couldn't accept this, and I think it means this, and Arsenal didn't accept it either. Now Lucas has a contract with Arsenal until 2023. So yeah, Torreira and his agent are going to have their work cut out there, people. Arsenal have been linked with a left back from Getafe, people, Uruguayan, Matias Oliveira. I haven't seen him, so I don't know nothing about him apart from YouTube, really, and he looked all right there, which you can't really look at. Arsenal and Benfica are two clubs most interested in the international Uruguayan left back. Arsenal among 4 clubs who have made bids for Oliveira, who is valued at 20 million euros by his club Getafe, according to this report. Napoli allegedly interested, and apparently they found an agreement with Getafe over a loan with the obligation to make it permanent next summer. But the Spanish club want his entire transfer paid right now, people. So it is what it is there. We might miss out on this because he seems set to have his Napoli medical. Conflicting report, people. He should have his medical tomorrow at Napoli. So Napoli's finally beaten Arsenal to the signing of a player. So yeah, that wraps up that. What's this? Hope we can meet again. 100k per week wage demands preventing Arsenal staff from